What is going on, guys? It is Bucky and welcome to your fourth iPhone development tutorial. Super excited about this tutorial because we are finally going to be going over some user interaction, a way to interact with the user, not just showing them some text on the screen, because that's cool, but it ain't that cool. So here is the app we're going to be building. Two buttons and a label at the top of the screen that you can't see. Whenever you click a button, the label pops up with a button's name in it. So you click red, red pops up. Blue, blue pops up. Red, red, blue, red, blue, blue, red, blue. Pretty easy, pretty awesome program we're going to be creating. So again, we have a label on the top and two buttons on the bottom. You can actually put the buttons anywhere you want, but anyways, that's where mine are. So, I thought it was pretty cool. So go ahead and open Xcode, and let's go ahead and get started with this. What we're going to be doing is creating a new Xcode project, and just go ahead and make it a view based as last time. Choose and name it anything you want. I'm going to name mine Bucky's Buttons. I think that's kind of a catchy name. Maybe we can market that. So go ahead and before we jump right into building all the buttons and labels on the interface, what we're going to be doing first is taking a look at these classes. Now, these classes, you see a couple things. First of all, these delegate classes, these are pretty much the built-in methods, pretty much the background housekeeping stuff. We usually don't want to mess with these. What we are going to be messing with is this view controller class. Now, this view controller class is the class that controls all the stuff on your screen. From this class, you can control the buttons, the labels, the colors, anything on your iPhone screen or iPod screen, you can control using this class. Pretty cool, huh? Hence the name View Controller. So let's go ahead first and jump into your View Controller header and go ahead and delete these comments. Do we really need those? I didn't think so. So before we start typing code, I want to give you guys a little background of how code and objects on your screen interact with each other. So we're going to have this code that we type in this class. Alright, that's cool. And then we're going to have a bunch of buttons and labels on our iPod or iPhone. Alright, that's cool. I see this. But how does the code actually connect with those buttons? Well, whenever you type code in your class, you're going to be making these things called outlets. And an outlet is pretty much your code representation of that object. So, say you made an object, and by the way, all an outlet is going to be is pretty much a variable. So say you made a button on your screen. You can make an outlet variable in your code, so whenever you change that variable, say a property of that variable, it will actually change that button on your screen. So, they're pretty much one and the same. Again, these are called outlets. Outlets are pretty much variables that are connected to objects on the screen. So whenever you change the outlet, you change the object on the screen. Alright. So we know the basics of how to change an object on our screen. But there's also these things that you can connect to the objects on your screen that are called actions. And this is how you call code from objects. So outlets go from the code to the objects. But you can also do actions that go from the object to the code. Let me give you guys a quick example. Whenever you click a button on your screen, it's going to call an action, and this action might be something like run a method, maybe calculate, how much gas mileage I'm getting in my car. When I click a button, call an action to calculate, how much a donkey weighs. So whenever you create an action, pretty much you can set up an object on your screen like a button to trigger a special method called an action. So that's what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. We're going to be using an outlet to change the label on the screen, and whenever we click those buttons, they're going to call actions to call methods in our program. So what? I think it's about enough time of me talking. Let's go ahead and get coding. The first thing we're going to be doing is creating an object to represent that label on the screen. Now, the built-in UI label is the class to represent any label. And I'm going to go ahead and just name mine labels text. So whenever we work with this object labels text, we're going to be working with that label, that text that appeared on screen that either said red or blue. So what we want to do now is, since we need to actually use this outlet to change the object on the screen, that label, we actually need to build this outlet. So how do we actually build outlets? Well, the first step to do this is to use that property. And if you don't know what property is, I taught you guys this in Objective-C tutorials. So that is why I wanted you guys to go over, learn the Objective-C tutorials first. What property does, it actually just builds the setter and getters, or mutators and accessor methods for you. But we don't just build this property like any other normal property. We're going to want to include two keywords, non-atomic and retain. Now let's go ahead and finish building this. In order to build an outlet, go ahead and type in the keyword IB outlet, and then go ahead and type in UI label, and of course your property's name, which is labels text. Now we're saying, alright, I mean, you really don't need to know what these two mean right now, but I know a bunch of people are going to ask me. So for you people and you people only, and for you guys who really don't care, don't pay attention to this, non-atomic pretty much means that in Mac OS X, the default is to create extra code for multi-threaded programs. We don't need that in iPhone programs, so just set it to non-atomic. It means get rid of the extra code. Retain pretty much means keep your variable in memory so it doesn't get lost. Usually what you want to do is, anytime you're creating a property that isn't just a basic raw data type like int, char, float, you want to retain it. If you're creating just a basic property like int x, then you don't need this at all. But usually retain any property that isn't raw like this one. Simple enough. So this is how you create an outlet. And again, this outlet, whenever we change this object, it's going to change that object on the screen that we link it to. So the only other thing that we need to include is the interface, is that action. Now whenever we create an action, we're going to link it to the buttons. So here's how you do this. Every time you create an action, you need to pass in IB action. This is what it returns. I'm going to name my action clicked because it's going to happen when the button's clicked, and you want to pass it ID sender. And what the sender is pretty much going to be that button that's going to be passed in. So this is the method that's going to be called whenever you click a button. And I know all of this isn't going to make a lot of sense in this tutorial, but in the next tutorial I'm going to clear things up, and we're actually going to be building the code to explain everything. So I mean, we pretty much just built the titles of everything now. In the next tutorial I'm going to be showing you the code, how to make everything interact and work. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and definitely check out the next tutorial. It's going to be a good one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.